na. Is the star here?
The star's here. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a bad day. Well, not bad. It's been a long day.
Let me tell you something. No type of humility or remorse. So like the stars here. You're like, yes, the star's here. oh, you got water too? Where's my water? I swear
I've arrived.
But you said I've arrived. You're trash. So we've been having first of all, how you doing, Muyisa? What you call it? How's everything?
I'm okay. Everything's okay. I mean, considering. So
Look, he said, what's up? Is she Congolese? Yeah, we as are Congolese.
Yes, I'm Congolese.
Yes. See, the only thing, so
100%.
we're out here in Los Angeles, Southern California, so we don't to Coleao na Southern California, so to zay na accent there. And hey, how you doing? See, it's what I don't know how for you, I've always said, but for myself, I get that all the time. Like, people have DM'd me, like, through Bantu Boyz, and they'll be like, are you Congolese? And then I'll start, like, typing back to them in Lingala. They'll be like, I'm Congolese.
They're shook. With American passport? Yes, I have an American passport.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Hello.
Look, hey, Sarah, you've been on here for what we've been doing this for 5 minutes while I was warming you guys up before the star came in. You don't you don't go to Muyisa and say, hello, beautiful Bantu queen. You go right to me first. You said,
listen,
hello.
Everybody knows you're a Bantu king. Everybody already knows that.
No, but she didn't say it. I'm a hater.
Such a hater.
All right. But what I was doing was while you were coming in all no, you know it's funny, you were on Congolese. You know how like black people have
I was on CP time, but Congolese people time?
No, Congolese though it's not okay, so African American black people have CP time, right? But Congolese is like magic time. Because you know whenever a party starts like at 8, they don't show up till like 12, 1 a.m. Like, to yaki to bina, you know? Hey, Renee.
They want to skip all the other stuff and just go straight to dancing.
Right. So this is going to be really, so while you were coming, taking your time to come and join this live, I try to warm people up and let them know about certain topics we'll talk about or whatnot. So I think mostly we have like, 13, 14 questions? So
yeah, we got a lot.
Okay, so let's start with the first one for the people. What is your educational background and where did you go? Like you'll answer, I'll answer, and like it's free flowing. No, Renee, what up though? You're gonna learn. Yeah, you're gonna learn today.
I want to preface though that they're like moving things and painting in the room right next to me. So if you hear some noises, that's what it is.
Whatever dead bodies you got, I'm not tripping. Yeah, Trina, how you doing? Wait,
so
hold
should
on.
I start?
Go ahead, start.
Okay, so I was born and raised in California, went through the public school system here in California, and then I decided to go out of state for college. I went to University of Nevada, Las Vegas. So I was a rebel, you know, pun intended.
Hilarious.
But yeah, so I started college as a bio major. Because that's what my parents wanted me to do.
Because you African, that's what happens.
Yeah. And then as time went on and I realized that I hated waking up to go look at cells under a microscope, I was like, nope. So I switched my major to marketing.
Why?
I always liked it.
Okay.
And then I was in my marketing classes and I liked the communication side of marketing and not really like the businessy side of marketing. So I switched my major to communications and that's where I finished up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, UNLV. Okay. So you clearly like to party. You love to gamble.
No. I'm such a Scrooge with my money. I'm like, I'm not gambling. I don't want to lose money.
You know what I can assume too? I can assume you don't have that many clothes because it's so damn hot in Vegas.
I have a lot of clothes. They're just not substantial.
No, but you know, like you don't wear that many clothes. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's just so damn, it's like Vegas. It's like 95 degrees at like 11 p.m.
Yeah, pretty much. You wear see-through clothing in the summer because it's that hot.
Okay. So you have a degree in communications or marketing. What did you say?
Communication, minors in marketing. Because I'd already taken the marketing classes. I just flipped the order. Because it was marketing, minor communications, and then I realized that I liked my communication classes more, and then I just flipped it. So it's it's really only like 2 classes different.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, my educational background, people will love this. All right, so I have a bachelor's in African American Studies, right? But okay, when I first got to college, I minored in business administration because I wanted to get into business. I always had an entrepreneurial like spirit. Mm-hmm. But then after I don't know, I transferred to I went junior college, first 2 years. Then I transferred to a historical Black college. I went to Norfolk State in Virginia. And I transferred to bio, right? Mm-hmm. So after I did, the out-of-state fees were too much. I transferred back to LA and I went to California State University of Northridge or CSUN or whatever. I felt some type of systematic racism when I came back here, and I was like, oh, I'm a biology major. I had like a 3.5 like GPA and stuff like that or whatever. And the topic is college a good choice, but the question right now is educational background. Right. So then I always was like a fan of like Black history. Like since the first movie I ever saw was like Roots, and I saw a movie on like Lumumba. Like I didn't even see like a Disney movie or whatever. So I always like Black history. And then so I switched to African American Studies, but I had so many biology classes or whatever. Then I got my first master's in biomedical sciences with an emphasis on HPV, HIV co-infection. And then I got my second master's in public health with the emphasis on urban health disparities. So like dealing with like disenfranchised communities with like health and disease and whatnot. And I went for grad school, I went to Charles Drew. It's a small historical Black college in South LA, right between Compton and Watts. Or whatever. So I got to see a bunch of shit. You know what I'm saying?
She said, wow. Yeah, I know. I say that every time. I'm like, wow. How long did that whole process take you? Like,
oh, okay. So, and that's it's funny. We can skip. We're just talking. Like, so, like overall, or like for grad school, or for undergrad. Because undergrad took me like 7 years. I was trying to find out. There's so many things you're trying to like find yourself. You're trying to. Do you like this major? You thinking about life? There's all these other factors that you go through, and then I think like when you are Congolese or you are African, I think a foreign, like really, or I don't even want to say foreign, like yeah, you foreign, like especially like us in Congo, we moved to the States, we don't speak English.
Yeah.
So there's a whole nother disadvantage. Like it's not like we didn't move to like another French. Our families didn't move to a French country. So I think sometimes we forget like when you move to America, your parents are also like trying to learn the laws of the land and the language.
Yeah, that's so true.
You see what I'm saying? So
people always ask about like Nigerians and stuff, and they speak English like in their home country. So when they move, it's way easier for them to transplant themselves into the society.
My uncle told me before the internet, he said it'll take you about 15 years to understand America. Before the internet. So I wonder now, maybe I wonder if it cuts the cuts
Probably.
like that or whatnot. But yeah, and then like adapt to a new culture too. I think there's all these, you're trying to find yourself in this, that. So I got my bachelor's at 25 or whatever, right? So I didn't do the traditional 3.5, 4 years or whatever. And I don't know about you, Muyisa, but me, I like a lot of things. I was never like, oh, this is the only thing I like. I think that's a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? So, and then my grad school was intense. It was 2 masters for 2 years. So like for like 2 straight years, I was in a lab and in school for like, and I would go from lab from 9 a.m. to 3, class from 4 to 7. We would eat for an hour and we would study till like 2 o'clock in the morning at each classmate's house and just do it all over again.
That's wild.
Oh, no. Let me tell you something. And my mentor for my first master's, let me tell you something. She was Suge Knight. She was Suge Knight. She was Suge.
How?
Because like she was on it tough. Like the thing, like, and I say this like okay, I'll let people know like my background, and I want you to chime in too. Like, with my mom. So my father died when I was 5. So my mom, like, what you call it, raised us, right? So my mom is working, like, night jobs and stuff like this. So, she has to take care of like bills and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like growing up, I was able to like kind of like just like I had my older sister who was like my surrogate, like second parent or second mom or whatever. So you have like all these like other like factors where it's like I was able to discover all these different things, and I was kind of like able to not be like pushed as much.
Yeah, we're gonna push over.
Right. So when I met my mentor in grad school, she was like, "You're smart, and you get away with a lot of stuff because you're smart. It ain't gonna work here." So like to turn in like portions of my thesis, if she said email me at 8, I'd email her 8:05. She would call me yelling at me. Like, Blake, what the fuck is wrong with you? This, that. And I know what she was doing. She was like,
conditioning.
Yeah, because she was like, you are Black. You're a man that's in science. She would tell me, well, wait till you start going to these conferences and you'll see how isolated you are. Like, where you have to like explain like, like this cell line and what this disease does, and then talk about this drug and this, that, or whatever. People, they don't think I'm unfit to have this type of education.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I'll say with second master's on public health, with emphasis on urban health disparities. So like dealing with poor people and people in like disenfranchised people. So pretty much just Black people. But what about you? Like it's funny. Why did you go to college?
Okay, bottom line, I never knew there was any other option for me. Like that's as simple as it gets. There was never any other option. It was like from the time I was born, they were like, all right, we came to this country so you could go to college. That's it. Plain and simple.
That's funny because am I wrong to think that like, and it's not just our people, but Black people in general, they always equated going to college as like being equal to our oppressor, because like think about like post-60s, 1960s colonization, and then you have what is that called? African nations gaining their independence. College was always looked at as a way like, hey, if you have the intelligence, you know what I mean, you get that degree, you're equal to the white man. We're the same like the Mundele or whatever.
Nah, right? They're gonna treat us like crap, so it doesn't matter.
Right. Clearly, like, I'll tell you firsthand, right? I've had people say people thought I was lying when I told them my education. Like, it's weird. And not only like but white people, but Black, Africans, like all whatever. But yeah, I think that's why I know that's why I went to college. I thought that was it. Like I didn't even know there was like an option.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't know there was an option. Do I regret going to college?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm skipping around a lot.
No. Go ahead. Remember, we're creative. We just float. We like to do different things. It don't matter.
I don't think I resent them for instilling in me that desire to go to college, because I learned a lot of other things in college that I don't think I would have learned without going to college and having that experience. Because college is more than just like the textbooks, the lectures, and stuff. It's like, especially if you have the opportunity to live away from your family and like become your own individual person, like that's the benefit in college.
Right. So. It's funny. I went to college because my friends went. Really? Yeah. Like now I'm thinking back on it. Yeah, my friends went. Like my closest friends that are like cousins. Like three went to Alabama State. I went to a historical Black college expo in LA, and people don't understand how with LA, like, or it was like where I'm from LA. So in LA, like USC and UCLA, even though they're right down the street, they're not as welcoming to us. Unless you're an athlete. You know what I'm saying? You know what I
Never
mean?
thought about that.
At least from like the way like me and my friends, the way we grew up, like we're like, oh, that's we never really thought about that. All right, ever. So my older cousins, I mean, like my older best friends, his brother was like, yo, let's go. His counselor told him about going to Alabama State, right? So they were like, have you thought about going to a black college? And he was like, you guys need to go to this college expo. Go to this college expo and to see all these different black people. I was like, yo, this is great.
That's awesome.
Right? And I talked to like Jackson State, Alabama State, you know what I'm saying? Howard, blah, 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 this. And then once I got to Norfolk State in Virginia, and I'm 35, so like this was like 2003. So Clips was hot. Remember Clips? Like you don't know the rap group Clips? Gosh, you're so weak, right? So Clips was so dope, and they were from Virginia, and I was like, Norfolk State's in Virginia. I was like, I think I'm gonna go to Norfolk State. You know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah.
That's where I'm landing.
But see, that's what happens when you have stupid ass kids making decisions, right? So it was like, I'm gonna go to Norfolk State.
I'm gonna pay X, Y, and Z amount of dollars this semester just so I could be in Virginia.
Yes, Pusha T and Malice. Well, now he's no Malice, but I was like, yo, I'm a fan of this, so I'm gonna. And then Pharrell was like, I'm going to Norfolk State. So I ended up going, loved it, but like, I think, you know, a lot of the issues, like there's other factors when going to college. Like the money was so much, the out-of-state fees were so much. You know what I mean? There's so much. So I was there for a year and a half, and I had to like leave. And I don't know. I wonder if I was able to stay there, how different like my life would have been. I don't think I would have came back to Los Angeles. Yeah, because I just loved it. Like the people that there were cool. Because it's great when you go there and you're like, especially on the East Coast. If there's any East Coast people that are there, please chime in. And we're gonna read your comments. I'm sorry, we're going on rants. But like, I would go to like parties or I'd be in the dorm room and it'd be like, oh, this black person's from Miami. Oh, this person's from Ghana. This person's from Nigeria. This person's from Cote d'Ivoire. This person's from Senegal. This person's from the Bay. This black person's from, you know, like, yeah, New York. And, you know what I mean? This person's from Chicago. And I was like, wow, this is like, and it was great because you would be in a classroom, like I would take like parasitology and it'd be in a classroom with all these like cool black dudes that like, they like Tupac, they like Kobe, they like all this other stuff, but they're like, no, these dudes are getting 90% on parasitology. You know what I'm saying, on the homework, and we're like, oh man, you only got a B+. Oh,
Let me tell you. My entire life, like even when I was in college, I was that kid where like in class, if they ever started talking about like Black history or slavery, just everybody would turn and look at me because I was like the only black person in the room, you know?
Tell us how it was. You remember?
They just turn and they look at you like, is that true? And I'm like, I wasn't even there. Like, I'm not even African American. Like, my parents flew here. So.
But I think that's interesting. Like, when I was at Norfolk, the first day of school, like at orientation, we didn't even go into like the curriculum. They went into like, hey, this is bigger than you. Understand where you come from. Understand the people that you're representing. You know what I mean? I was like, oh wow. I was like, we're in biology. Let's get to the books. Yeah. But no, they're trying to let you know like what you're doing is bigger than you. And
it's way different.
Oh, it's completely different. Like I have like friends in grad school that went to like I think it was Clark Atlanta, and like I think the first day of class they like is it Clark Atlanta and Morehouse where they actually sit down. They have the girls sit next to the boys or whatever, right? And then they force them to be like partners. So it's like, hey, get through this 4 years together. You know what I'm saying? Or you get through this degree together. You know what I'm saying? We need each other. And it's like, that stuff's very important because, you know, we went through so much trauma here and abroad. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, like, I went to my sister's graduation. She went to Howard, HU. You know?
I wish I would have went, man.
But, like, I was sitting in that commencement ceremony and just feeling the energy and the emotion from everybody. And you're like, damn, like, you really came through this. You started together and you ended together. And she was telling me, like, yeah, like, when you start, they tell you, like, look, you're going to make it. You're going to finish. Like, there's very few reasons as to why you're not going to make it through this program.
And I think, like, that's one of the reasons why I'm seeing here. Renee said, I wish I would have gone to an HBCU for that reason. Yeah, exactly. Like,
me too.
I was at Norfolk State for a year and a half, and like my best friend then she's still my best friend now because like we were just like I hate to say it's a different bond, man. I don't know what it is. I don't because you know what it is too. It's like living in the hood, right? Like or living there's always this connotation like don't live in a black neighborhood because black people are crazy. Well, if you're black, you're fine because black people know what a black crazy person looks like. In other non-black communities, they think all black people are crazy. So, like, when I lived in the jungles, I was like, oh, actually, I enjoy living in the jungles. Why? Because them Pyrus and them Bloods or those Crips around the corner, they know I'm not crazy. They're just like, oh, that's the nigga that just goes to school and plays ball. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, they just leave me, they'll leave me alone. They just leave you alone. Right. And that's the same thing when you go to a black college. Like, they know, like, we're all in this together, but they know like, oh, he's cool. That dude, okay, he got a couple girls, whatever, but he be doing his work. He's in this club. Matter of fact, let me say something about HBCUs. You know who's the coolest person on campus? The band. The band. Yeah. Let me tell you, it's weird. Just picture like a dreadhead dude that's like that would look like a thug, but he be playing the trumpet. I remember Norfolk State, them niggas on the band would get all the girls. I hated them. They get all the honeys, all of them. I hated them so much.
Well, I wanted to be a majorette. So I cheered from the time I was like 5 until I was graduating high school. And like some pom and stuff like that. I wanted to be a majorette, but
hey, let's read some of these. I'm gonna read some of these comments. All right. Somebody has a undergrad business, MS in information systems. I knew he was smart. Never liked the inferiority black people have in America. I never considered myself black. I'm Congolese. That's a whole nother topic because black is an American thing. Black is a term only used maybe 110 years ago in this country. There's this book called Fatal Invention you guys should read where it talks about like race and genetics and how they would create these subgroups of black, white, Chinese, not for biological purposes, but for political purposes. All right. So remember, like when this country started, they were like, remember the first black people that were here were indentured servants or whatever that had rights to like land and stuff like that. But the poor whites were like, hey, or no, the rich whites were like, we can't have the poor whites and the poor Africans congregate and try to demand the same rights as the higher up white or whatever. So they created like black, white, and then there were certain rules like, well, if you have the one drop rule, they can't get political, they can't get access to assets like land and stuff like that or whatever. So we got to keep the white pure blood. And then like in the 40s, Chinese were considered white, but then we know Italians were considered black. Like so, like black is a new thing. Like even when they tell they try to trick us black people and say stuff like, well, you know, black people sold other black people during slavery. Black didn't exist in Africa. It was Bakongo, Baswahili, Baluba, Yoruba, Zulu. So there's like a whole lot of stuff. Okay. Sarah has a law degree and international justice and master's. Hey, you know, Patrick is our manager and he's a lawyer, but I think he's stealing from us. So I'm always hiring. Stupid. Said my grandfather went to college and my father has a PhD. So college was like high school for me. I think we came to America so my siblings and I can go to the schools we went to. Well, my father's a PhD.
Yeah, my dad has a PhD too. My dad has like, I don't even know how many degrees he has.
He does a PhD. See, I mean, I wanted to do a PhD, but I was like, I'm just tired of so much school because it'll be like 7 years. They would be like, oh, you get another master's, and I was like, I don't. Dr. Wisa would be more for my mom, but who knows? Life isn't over. Life isn't over. Yeah. Yes, in high school they don't tell us what we were before slavery. We had kingdoms. Oh yeah. They don't tell us anything.
They say you were a slave. I'm like, we flew here. I don't know what you're talking about.
But even in Africa, you guys have degrees. You guys have disease and you guys eat monkeys. Remember, King Leopold saved us. Remember? All right. Okay. Did you
saved us by chopping off our hands? What the?
Yeah. Wait. Did you know that Thurgood Marshall was Congolese? Yes, I did know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's Congolese. Yeah. And he traced like 100 years back when his like whatever great grandfather came here from Congo. In America, until they hear your accent, you're black. Yeah, that's right. Every time the cops pulled me over, I was black. Until then, when they saw my ID, they're like, "What is this? What is a balika?"
It's not. It's not Johnson? What's happening? Who are you?
Yeah, what's a balako? Hold on. Somebody said there's a question. If you get a chance to answer this, what are some things you wish you did differently throughout your college journey? Ooh, that's a good question.
That is a really good question. I think that's one of our questions, actually, so you might as well just go for it. You go first.
Yeah, go for it.
You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead. Go first.
I think for me, I would just be more educated about the decisions that I'm making. Like, obviously now in hindsight, I'm grateful for the mistakes that I made because they've made me into the person that I am. But then there's also something to say about like financial decisions, right? Like going out of state versus staying in state, and just I don't know, being more focused. That's hard to say because I really enjoyed like my unfocused years, but being more focused.
Yeah. What do you mean, like unfocused? What do you think like made you unfocused?
A lot of things. I was in a relationship that I probably shouldn't have been in. I was too young. Like
of course.
I was trying to keep up with the Joneses and go out every night. I wanted to work. I didn't have to work. My parents were like, "Don't work," and I was like, "No, I want to work." And I worked. I didn't need to. Yeah, so she went to school in Vegas. That's pretty much sums it up.
The strip club was right there. Man, you should have been making bank. Different state? Your family didn't know? Oh, could have been what's called like strip tease and been making gang of money.
There is a heavy Congolese community there, and even if there wasn't, I can't dance, so we got problems.
Oh, you dance like a Republican. But
I dance like Elaine from
with the thumbs?
The thumbs and the kick?
Oh my goodness, Elaine from Seinfeld. Yeah. Congolese people are everywhere. They're like roaches. They're everywhere.
They're like roaches.
Yeah. But no, what is some I could have done differently? I mean, hindsight is 2020, but man, I wish I would have. See, that's what happens when you're the first generation. You don't know the rules. So you just go to college. I wish my 10th grade year I would have went on a college tour visiting every college. And then I could have looked at the finance of debt to income ratio. And that's another question we're talking about. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this sounds really dumb, but if you can't afford it, you shouldn't purchase it, right? Like it's weird because if you want a pair of tennis shoes that are like $30 or like $100 or whatever, right? But you only have 90, you won't make that purchase, right? Yeah. It's like, oh, I can't make this purchase, right? But in college, it's whatever, especially out of state, it's like whatever, $30,000-$40,000. You're not making that at 18 because you're just focused on school. Especially the type of degree. When you get that type of, like, it's weird because I'm not saying other degrees you can't, they're not as difficult, but other degrees can allow you to get a job. When you have a science degree, you're like, I'm doing 3 hours of lab a day outside of the 4 hours of class. So I'm in school like a work shift. So when you get home, you're just like, I'm going to eat and I'm tired.
Yeah.
And I gotta read and study art, right? And so I think I wish I would have, because if I would have known that, what I would have done, I would have never went to Norfolk State. I would have stayed in California. But I'm gonna tell you where I was mentally at 18, 19, 20 years old or whatever. I didn't have the confidence enough to compete with my academic counterparts of other races because they don't. The LAUSD public system doesn't instill confidence in Black kids. The only time I ever
any school system does.
No, hell no. I think the only thing they do is like because I was on the basketball team, I played basketball. That was the only time I was like looked at. I remember my senior year of high school, I was like in a history class, and the teacher, he would announce the top 5 grades in class. And I remember in class, I got the highest grade of this first test or whatever, but it was only 89%. He was like, Baleko with the 89%. And I grabbed the piece of paper and I threw it on the ground. He said, what? I said, it's not an A. And he was like, well, but you have the highest grade. I was like, the African, like, if it's not 99%, you didn't do well. Mm-hmm. And I remember my homeboy, Ricky, was dying laughing. He was like, this guy B is a piece of work.
He's like, he got the highest grade. He's still not happy.
I'm still not happy. But I think, I wish I could have done that. I wish I could have been like, and think people don't realize college is a game. right? Like
Explain.
like college is a game. Like, so everybody knows sports because of, you know, like you can see on social media and how open we are with like how much an athlete makes or whatnot. And we always hear this term AAU, American Amateur, I think I don't know if it's university or union or something like that, where kids join this AAU circuit, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, and it's sort of like a bridge to professional sports or to like top college college basketball, football programs, right?
Yeah.
The same thing in academics. Like, okay, I graduated from Charles Drew, but I had for like my second master's, I had to work with kids and I had to get poor blacks or just black people into like STEM, right? So these kids would be like in 10th, 11th grade, and these kids were like geniuses, like so smart. But they were in a circuit where they were doing presentations on scientific studies in like the 10th grade and presenting it at all these different scientific conferences. We would go to conferences up north. Some of them would go to conferences through the NIH, through the CDC, and they're in the 10th, 11th grade. So with them being in the circuit, you don't know how many kids I would see that would be like, oh, I'm going to an Ivy League school on a full scholarship. Wouldn't it be great if while you were going through your phase, it was free?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
but you weren't in the circuit. You are a customer. School's a business, a corporation, and you as a student, you are a customer. You gotta you know what I'm saying? You are a customer. So you have to like realize that. I think once people realize that, you start to look at college completely different rather than this Dawson's Creek. I'm gonna find myself and I'm gonna enjoy life and like go sleep on the campus grass and stuff like that. And
well, absolutely. I think now you and I were talking about that when we were talking about like not having the confidence to go to school at that time. Like I think now, like I think about going back to do a master's, and I'm like, I have all the confidence in the world, I have all the motivation, but like, is it really worth it for me? Like this game of college, like will making this chess move take me that much further or not?
Yeah, and that's and oh, can I add one more thing to what I would have done differently?
What?
If I knew now what I knew then, I would have took financial aid money and I would have just started a business because it's easier to get a loan through college than it is to get a business loan.
I traveled with mine. If we want to talk about terrible financial decisions, we can talk about that. I went to 4 different countries in Africa. I went to Belgium. I went to London. I went to France. I traveled. I went to Costa Rica.
Hey, let me tell you something. That's why all these girls, they be like, I'm traveling. It's my season when we're in college. Like, this girl keeps traveling. She just get another unsubsidized loan. Girl, we going here this year.
I was jet setting with my money.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, like even think about that. It's easier to get a college loan than it is to get a business loan. So I wish I would have took that money, or just like, oh, I'm just going to start a business. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing too, like, when people go to college and like, oh, I'm going to take a loan. Like, I mean, we had Congolese financial advisor talk to us about like finance and stuff like that. And he talked a little bit about like debt to income ratio and how like, his family, they had to take loans for college or whatever. But you have to be smart. Like, it's like, don't take too much. Just take enough to like, yo, I just need to pay for school, But it's like to go to college, I feel, Muyisa, and like, please let me know if you agree with this. It is a full family participation. Yeah. Like,
but I think that's what hinders us. Our parents didn't have to go through this system, unless, of course, they got their degrees when they came here. But they didn't have to go through this system, so it's way different. Like, they didn't know, like, at my sophomore year, I was supposed to already be prepping for SATs and all that other stuff so that I could ace them with flying colors and get all the opportunities. They didn't know all the different scholarships that I could apply for. It was like, you're going to get a scholarship based on your wits, like you got to be smart and get a scholarship. No, I could have gotten a scholarship because I'm short. There's literally scholarships for everything.
There it is. But but that's what I'm saying with being in the circuit. Like, you have to be like, so picture, okay, you're you're thinking like 10th grade. Like, it's weird because 10th grade is like, you should already be set where, okay, I'm in the circuit in the 10th grade. So by the time I'm 25, I'm already at a high internship or a high program because I come from a circuit or a program that's recognizable. Exactly. So one thing I saw with the program I worked with these kids was I'd have these 15, 16, 17-year-old kids where they already knew I'm going to be an anesthesiologist. I'm going to be a biochemist. I didn't even know what those words were at 15, 16. I only knew when the J's were coming out or a Tupac song. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I wasn't involved in the circuit. So they would be in this program or whatnot that was accredited where, and people don't, and our parents don't know this. There's certain programs that are bridges to like this school. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, we trust that program. So when this kid applies, this kid is, we trust his work or his work ethic. Mm-hmm. He fits our kind of like, he fits into our program or whatnot. So I think it's very important. Like, if you have kids now, like you second generation, if you're going to have kids here in the States, you put them in a academic program. You do your research because you are the parent to, you know, if you find out your kid wants to become a doctor or your kid wants to become whatever, a nurse or, get into this program here.
Put them in the proper position, set them up for success.
Yeah, so they can first of all have, it's not even about, of course it is about money, but you don't want them to have the headache of being stressed out while they're in school.
Well, answer this for me though, because I feel like my parents did a really good job of setting me up for that success. Like, we live in the middle of Orange County, you know, like I went to a California distinguished school. I took all the AP classes, I did all of that, but like they still didn't understand the system enough to be able to like say, hey, not that they couldn't like afford it, or like, hey, we're gonna get you an SAT tutor who's gonna come every Saturday and teach you all these crazy words. I got all that at school because my school was great about that, but like those other kids who were also getting that at school were also having a tutor come to their house. We're also going to, you know, X, Y, and Z things. So that circuit. Like, how do you suggest that, like, someone builds a circuit of that sort for us in the next generation?
I do, like, I think the research, having conversations like this helps out, right? I think, like, for example, that program where I helped those kids out in STEM, we had a list, step by step, of what a student should do from his 11th grade year to a senior year, step by step. Like every week, like it would be like, okay, this week you apply for this week you apply for this. And I was like, yo, what?
Like, where was this?
Right. So like, I'm a part of the Southern California Congolese community organization. So I presented it to the president, like, yo, we need to give this to like the parents so they know, or we have the kids come. Post-corona or whatever, so they can look at this and be like, hey, you're a junior, this is what you need to do. You're a senior, this is what you need to do, or whatnot. You need to apply for this. So it's just like really spreading the information, because the information is there, it's just hidden. It's just when one person gets it, they hold it. Or it's like, no, we got to share this, because it's a step-by-step. Like, going to college is a whole process. It's not just like, it's just not applying and you do the SAT and you're in. It's like, no, once you get there, because like once you get there on campus, you got to be a part of a group. You know what I mean? We'll
get into that. Can we talk about that? Like, how important do you think it is to get involved on campus and be...
Wait, so hold on. Let's read some of these people's comments, then we'll go right to it. Okay, hold on. Okay. Well, to think I saved... Crazy Leah, that's an amazing idea. Take the money and start a business. You damn right. Serena, to think I saved and we was on the same page. That would have been great. Congolese financial advisor, you guys are lucky to have that. I was like, hey, we literally just did the podcast with him on Wednesday, so we'll have like the audio on Monday, period. It's all about your network. Yep. If your circle is going to junior college, you will too. If they are applying to Ivy League, then you will try to do that too. Absolutely. Congolese YouTubers, the financial advisors, Oliver Coupe. The episode is called Wealth Management with Oliver Coupe. Link is in the bio. Yeah, holla. Serena, I don't know about your guys' time, but for us, it was doing the work in the moment, passing to pass. Then senior year comes up with a quick snap and realize, oh shoot, we got to apply. Yeah, exactly. Like it should never be like a surprise. Like, oh shit, like you should already know like, I mean, we all like, I don't know, like, you're from Orange County. I'm here in Los Angeles, which is just like whatever 20 minutes north. But like, there's certain high schools that I knew that like I had cousins that would go to like Harvard Westlake, and it'd be like, oh, that school is pretty much a bridge to like Harvard. Like, and I'm just like, how does somebody in LA have a bridge to like this big time East Coast historical old
the program they set up.
Yeah, the program that's set up so where I can get a 4.0 in my college, my high school, but I would have to do so much extracurricular activity to maybe even get looked at there. But they can go to that school, maybe get a B average. But that's something where it's like families, you know what I mean? Old money, you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing about the business of college. Like, if my parents are rich and my parents donate to, I don't know, UCLA, I'm going to get in at UCLA. They donate.
Yeah.
They
donate. They've helped build a library. They go to the fundraisers every year. Like, of course you're going to you.
Okay, so when I was in grad school, Drew has a program with UCLA or whatever, right, to help with like the medical school. And one medical student, he would come in and come work with us in the lab, and he was like, my medical school class, there's a student, his last name is Reagan. So he's like Reagan's grandson. You think UCLA is not going to take him? Come on, right? Come on. Like, they're not. Why would they not take him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So wait, what was the question? You said just tell them you're a child soldier and you're in. I did. I did.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of like tricks that you can use as a person of color, or especially like an African, to get into college.
I gotta work on my accents. Oh no, I came here post one of Mobutu's grandkids. Just say that.
Oh my gosh, I forgot the question I even asked you, but I have a fun one though.
Go ahead.
What's your funniest story from college? Like, what's the craziest thing that ever happened to you?
Funniest thing in college? Where do I begin? Like, what do you mean, like?
Like as like undergrad, or like maybe like the funniest realization that you had, like living on your own or anything.
I think I probably said it last week when I was with my ex-girlfriend, and she thought I was cheating off with a with a classmate, and she
sucker punched you.
Yeah, I was like, I think go bomangay. Like, she was like, Serena, you're so late. Tell he said Mobutu's my father. That would work. Hey, Muyisa, tell her what college you went to.
I went to UNLV.
Okay. And I graduated from I went to Norfolk State, graduated from CSUN, got my master's at Charles Drew University of Science and Medicine. Holla. Yeah. Funniest thing, there's so many funny things in college, man. I don't know, the funny, okay, yeah, she punched me. She thought I was cheating on her because a classmate had the same name as an ex-girlfriend, so she was clearly insecure. Was that it? Yeah, that might have been it. Yeah, I think that might be it. Yeah. Yeah, that might be it. I have a prideful moment.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, you said boring state but fun. Shut up. What about you?
Okay, so it was like pretty early on in my college career, and I wasn't of age, right? And I lived in Las Vegas, so we used to go to like the frat parties or whatever. And funny fact, in Vegas, you're not allowed to have sorority houses because they're considered a brothel, but you can have frat houses. So I like didn't want to bring all my like cards and everything, so I left my cards in a specific place, like in a drawer. I was like, I'm gonna keep them here safe. We went out, we had a grand old time. The next day, I needed to go grocery shopping. I could not find anything, any of my stuff. We went traveling through the entire city. We walked the Las Vegas Strip like at 7 a.m, trying to find my IDs. Hopefully I dropped them, trying to find my cards. Came home. I went to open up this drawer to get something or put something away. Boom. There's all my stuff. But I will never forget that because I was a mad woman that day. I went everywhere.
That's so funny. But here's the thing, like at 7 a.m. in the morning, you're like walking around. It's like, it's still hot. I can't go to college in a place that's that hot. And I'm from LA.
Yeah, we used to fight for night classes.
Really?
Yeah, because you don't want to be walking like end to end on campus when it's like 1,000 degrees outside and the sun is beating down on you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but well, who knows? Maybe the creep in me probably would like to go to UNLV because girls are wearing less. It's so hot.
Nah, girls should show up to class in a bathing suit, and the professors you should just be like, well, that's it.
Outside of graduating, what was the most like prideful moment you had in college?
Passing my FCC like regulation and getting my radio show.
Radio show. So you had a radio show at UNLV?
Yeah.
Look, congrats. Look at you. Look at you. I guess for me, most proud moment when I had to defend my thesis and I had like the best presentation. Like it was so you guys don't understand, man. When you're able to like, so the way like, if anybody here that's never had to defend a thesis, like at least yet or whatever, you have all these doctors that are like a panel. There's like a panel of 5 doctors. You have damn near half of the school in the audience listening to you defend or whatever. So there's people like hyperventilating because, you know, speaking in front of people.
Public speaking.
Yeah, public speaking, people hate it or whatever, right? So I told you guys earlier, my mentor was Suge Knight. So we would rehearse. We would do a present for a whole year. We would do a presentation on different subject matters. We would read like scientific articles, and then one person in our group would read would do a presentation on the article or whatever. So it can be on anything. She would be like, here, I want you to read this article. You can do a presentation, our presentation next week. Mind you, people have 4 classes, 4 labs, all this stuff, but she didn't give a fuck. And the reason why she didn't give a fuck, she was the first Black woman to get a PhD in genetics from the University of Kansas. So her told like,
she's like, I am that busy. Like, don't come for me.
Yeah, but she had to do like, and think about it, it's not like she got her PhD like in think about it, the first Black woman to get a PhD in genetics at University of Kansas in like 2000. So this is recent. This isn't like the 1960s. To say this is recent, right? So when I had to do my presentation, there's like 5 doctors, and like I said, half of the school's pretty much there or whatever. And it's not about your presentation; it's how they grill you. Your presentation is like an hour, right? Yeah, well, no, it was like it was an hour. No, like for like 30 minutes, 35 minutes, and then 15 minutes for like Q&A. So you would have each doctor go back to slide 1. What does that mean? And they're pretty like, just think about the whole judge's intent is to make you look dumb. Oh, it was great. And think about it, my whole class was all Black.
So how do they judge that though? I'm curious. Like, how do they judge if you defended it properly?
Because they know it. So like, for example, like, so the way it would be broken down. So like, there would be people that worked in they would work on like breast cancer. Right, and like triple negative breast cancer. So maybe there'd be like 3 projects on that day. The doctors for that hour or whatever, that 2 hours or that day, they have experience working on that cell line. So they want to be like, "Are you right?" Because let me tell you, you know how like in rap, if you bite in rap, you're looked at as like you never want to bite in rap, right? You want to be original with your lyrics or whatever, unless you make a reference. In science, I think science is even worse. If in science you say something kind of like pseudo false, oh my goodness, because they're like nerds.
They're like, nope, wrong. Mm-mm.
Yeah, it'll be so condescending. We'll be like, well, you know what? I actually think the cell line you're looking at is actually HeLa cells. Have you thought about that? You know what I'm saying? Because you're not gonna go over the booth and like punch them. Like, this is like a different type of like.
I told you, mother.
right. Could you picture it? You'd be like, it's human papillomavirus, nigga. Like you can't say that. You can't say that. So that was probably my most proud moment or whatever. Yeah. That was probably my proudest moment in college. That. Because man, because I was so stressed out. I went to a 2 Chainz concert that night and I fainted at the concert.
What?
Yeah, that's how stressed out I was. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the same night.
Same night, fainted. I was at a concert, I fainted. I remember I was watching 2 Chainz. I was like, hey, 2 Chainz fainted.
What happened? Did they like call the ambulance and they fan you off, or what happened?
I was with my girlfriend at the time, and ex-girlfriend, and she helped carry her and security helped carry me to the car, and I was just drinking water, and I was like, she's like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, because I didn't sleep for like maybe 3 days while prepping for this presentation. Because you gotta like, and here's the thing, going to an HBCU, you gotta realize like, for something like that, you have like the president there, the president of the school's there. He's like an MD, PhD. You have these different departments, like, professors and different students that are like, they see you around campus, and the campus is small, so people are like, you have to. Everybody knows, and they're trying to like encourage you. It's not. I've never went to a big college, so I've only heard of stories where it's like you go to like Cal and there's like 400 people in the classroom. You know what I mean? Where it's like at Drew, like at Norfolk State, there's like 40 people, maybe 30 people in the class, but we all in it together. It's a community, like, it's a community base. It's a historical Black college, so it's like community. Like, of course, you always have these outliers where it's like, well, I got to do my work, but there's a lot of like group projects, a lot of stuff we do together. So like I'll tell you my first masters, those people I was in class with, those are friends for life. We did everything together. We slept on the floor together. We studied together. Like it's great when you have somebody that you would think in other schools they would compete against you, but
they're your ally.
Not only your ally, but they're teaching you how to study. Remember how we talked about earlier, like being in a program in a circuit?
Yeah.
To see these Black people that like the same things we like, same food, same clothes, everything, where they were in certain programs where they're like, I think I'm smart. But I remember one of my classmates was like, Blake, I'm gonna teach. Like, she taught me how to study. I was like, yo, I didn't know how to study like this. You know what I mean? Like, because when you go to those upper echelon college, like, they've been in those programs where they're like, no, this is how you read, like, context clues, or, understand this is why think A to C, don't think A to B. I'm like, this is interesting.
They teach you a whole new outlook and a whole new way of looking at things.
Yeah.
I think that's something that, like, I don't know. I think my mom tried to teach me that. Mm-hmm. My mom's a really good student. Like, she doesn't, she doubts herself, whatever. She's a really good student, and she'll tell you, like, hey, this is what you do before, this is what you do after, this is how you read, this is how you, like, study. Mm-hmm. So for me, when I got to college, it worked.
Hold on. We got 5 seconds left. Hey, we're going to keep this going. Keys are going to Congo.